Our second topic is the Cavite Mutiny and the rebellion case against Gomburza. The Cavite Mutiny. The Cavite Mutiny is one of the most significant historical accounts in the Filipino history. Inilalarawan dito ang pag-aalsa ng mga Filipino troops at workers sa Cavite Arsenal dahil sa pagtanggal ng mga privilege na exemption ng tribute at exemption sa forced labor. The three Filipino martyred priests are Father Jose Burgos, Father Mariano Gomez, and Father Jacinto Zamora, or also known as Gomburza. May mga kontrobersya na ang tatlong pari na ito ay sangkot sa Cavite Mutiny noong 1872. Ang issue na ito is katotohanan kung ang tatlong pari na ito ay mapatunayang nagkasala sa kasong rebellion at kapag ang akusado ay nagresulta bilang katotohanan ay magkakaroon sila ng bitay sa pamamagitan ng garot. Next slide po. Dr. Trinidad Hermenegildo Bardo de Vera. Sinulat niya yung Filipino version ng Bloody Incident ng Cavite Mutiny noong 1872. He is a Filipino scholar, a scientist, and historical researcher. For Tavera, the incident happened was merely a mutiny by the native Filipino soldiers and Filipino laborers of Cavite Arsenal who turns out that they are not happy or dissatisfied on the privilege that took to them. For Governor Izquierdo, he believed that the policies of abolition of the privilege of the workers and native army of the arsenal and the prohibition of the establishment of schools of arts and trades for Filipinos are all cover-up for the organization of a political club.
Talavera believed that the Spanish friars and Izquierdo used the Cavite Mutiny as a powerful lever, portraying it as a grand conspiracy involving local military forces, civilian, and aims to overthrow the rule of the Spaniards in the Philippines. This portrayal serves to amplify fears and justify stronger control over the local population. It is during the time the central government in Madrid announced its intention. At that time, the central government in the Madrid declared plans to reduce the influence of the friars by removing their authority over civil governance and their control over educational institutions. This move aims to limit their powers and promote more secular administration in the Philippines. This turnout of events was believed by Talavera. Sa part na to, Talavera believed that the announcement from the central government threatening the friars' power prompted them to take extreme measures to retain their influence in the Philippines, faced with losing control over civilian and educational matters. The friars may have resorted to the threat of the Cavite Mutiny to rally support and justify their authority.
Influences in the Philippines would be eating up the fast, took advantage of the incident and presented it to the Spanish government as a vast conspiracy organized throughout the archipelago with the object of destroying Spanish sovereignty. Tavera sadly confirmed that the Madrid government came to believe that the scheme was true without any attempt to investigate the real facts or extent of the alleged revolution reported by Izquierdo and the friars. So this paragraph describes how the friars who held significant power in the Philippines used the incident of the mutiny to their advantage. So they presented it is as a widespread conspiracy aimed to overthrowing Spanish rule, and how the Spanish government, influenced by the friars' narrative, and then failed to conduct a thorough investigation into true nature of the events. Convicted educated men who participate in the mutiny were sentenced life imprisonment, while members of the native clergy headed by the Gombursa were tried and executed by Garut. This episode leads to the awakening of nationalism and eventually to the outbreak of Philippines Revolution of 1896. So the educated men who participate were imprisoned for life, while the native clergy, including the Gombursa, yun ay sina Father Gomez, Burgos, and Zamora, were executed by Garut. So the suppression of the mutiny and the execution of the Gombursa served as a catalyst for the rise of Filipino nationalism. Next slide. Si Jose Montero y Vidal, siya ay sumulat ng version ng Espanyol ng Cavite Mutiny noong 1872. So sa madaling salita, ang teksto ay naglalarawan kay Montero y Vidal bilang isang historiador ng Espanyol na nagbibigay ng isang bias na version ng Cavite Mutiny. Ang kanyang salaysay ay sinasabing nagpapalaki ng mga pangyayari at nag-aakusa sa mga inosenteng Pilipino na naglalayong maghimagsik laban sa Espanyol or sa Espanya. Next slide po. So the establishment in Spain of government less radical than the one of appointed La Torre. The latter was relieved from his post. His successor, Dr. Rafael Izquierdo, assumed control of the government of these islands April 4, 1871. The most eventful episode on his rule was the Cavite Revolt of 1872. So this sentence suggests that the removal of privileges for workers in the Cavite arsenal, including exemptions from taxes, might have been contributing factor. So paiksiin na lang natin, medyo mahaba yung Spanish Revolution. So sa madaling salita, ito ay naglalaman ng mga pangyayari na nag-uudyok sa sa Cavite at sa kalaunan ay humantong sa Rebolusyong Pilipino. So ang mga pangyayaring ito ay kinabibilangan ng pag-alis ng pribilehiyo ng mga manggagawa sa Cavite. So dito pinakita sa Spanish Revolution with over to a secular throne, the propaganda carried. And here, Cristalini Comendes for the continuation.
Hindi ko na siya babasahin, explain ko na lang siya agad kasi masyadong mahaba. So sabi dito, noong 1872, nakatanggap ang mga authorities ng mga anonymous tips or information about a plan laban sa mga Espanyol na magaganap sa oras na umalis ang fleet sa Cavite patungong south. So the warning mentioned that the uprising will involve the assassination of all Spaniards kasama na mga Fraile. Pero hindi yun pinansin ng karamihan. So ang sabuatan ay matagal ng lihim na pinaplano mula pa noong panahon ni La Torre. And key leaders like Filipino-Spaniard, D. Joaquin, Pardo de Tavera at mga katutubong pari na si Jacinto Zamora and nagkaroon ng mga secret meetings. Nakadalasan ay dinaluhan ng mga influential na kura, paroko ng Bacoor, Cavite. So ang sabuatan ay kinabibilangan ng mga katutubong sundalo sa Manila Garrison at maraming sibilyan. Ang plano ay ipapapatay ng mga sundalo ang kanilang mga opisyal, mga servants, mga amo, at mga escort ng Kapitan General sa Malacanang. So eventually, tatargetin din ang gobernador mismo. So the details were meticulously planned, and the uprising was scheduled to start on the evening of January 20, 1872. So this explanation highlights the conspiratorial efforts and the detailed planning involved in the attempt uprising against Espanyol rule. So, sa Sampaloc, Maynila, ipinagdiriwang ng mga tao ang piyesta ng Mahal na Birhen na Loreto with fireworks. Akala ng mga nasa Cavite ay isa yun sa senyales para magsimula na yung himagsikan. Pero, on the night of January 20, 1872, mas humigit kumulang na sundalong Pilipino sa pamumuno ni Sargento Lamadrid and ang nagrebelde, and then they killed the fourth commander and wounded his wife. Ang gobernador militar ng Cavite na si D. Fernando Rojas ay nagpadala ng dalawang Spaniards para ipagbigay alam sa Maynila, but they were killed on the way by local natives. But si D. Domingo Mijares managed to reach Manila and inform the authorities. And early on January, naghintay siya ng buong araw para sumuko ang mga rebelde to avoid unnecessary bloodshed. When the rebels didn't surrender, Hinobes attacked early on January 22, defeating them and capturing the survivors. An official announcement declared the end of the revolt. So some prisoner named several people as instigators, including notable Filipino priests and intellectual like Don Jose Burgos, D. Jacinto Zamora, and D. Mariano Gomez. They were arrested along with others. So this event, known as the Cavite Mutiny, played a crucial role in Philippine history, eventually leading to the Philippine Revolution. So the Council of War ay naghatol ng kamatayan sa 41 rebelde dahil sa kanilang pakikilahok sa pag-aalsa sa Cavite. Inaprubahan din yon ng Kapitan General noong Enero 27. Noong February 6 naman, 11 pang rebelde ang hinatulan ng kamatayan, pero binago ng Gobernador General yon and naghatol na maging habang buhay na lang sa pagkabilanggo. Noong February 8 naman, hinatulan ng konseho si Camerino ng kamatayan at ang 11 miyembro ng Guas de la Torre ng 10 taon na pagkabilanggo dahil sa pagpatay ng mga Kastila noong Enero 20. On February 15, Filipino priest Jose Burgos, Jacinto Zamora, and Mariano Gomez along with Francisco Saldula were sentenced to be strangled to death. Maximo Inocencio, Enrique Paraiso, and Crisanto de los Reyes received a 10-year prison sentence. And on the day of the execution, February 17, a large crowd gathered in Bagong Bayan to witness the executions. Dumalo din yung mga sundalong Pilipino habang nakahanda na yung pagpaputok if ever magkaroon ng himagsikan.
April 3, 1872, sinuspende ng audiensya ng ilang abogado kabilang sina D. Jose Basa Y. Enriquez at D. Joaquin Pardo de Tavera sa kanilang pagsasanay. Ang hakbang na ito ay kasunod ng kahilingan ni Gobernador Eduardo para sa karagdagang trop Espanyol upang palakasin ang port dahil karamihan ng mga lokal na tropa ay mga katutubo. Bilang tugon noong April 4, 1872, pinawalang bisa ng gobyerno ang rehimentong artilleriya ng mga katutubo at nagtatag ng bagong puwersang artilleriya na binubuo lamang ng mga Peninsulares. Dumating ang mga tropang ito sa Maynila noong Hulyo 1872 at nagdaos ng isang espesyal na misa sa Santo Domingo Church bilang paggunita sa kanilang pagdating kung saan dumalo ang mga opisyal ng gobyerno. mga leader ng relihiyon at ang publiko sa paanyaya ng Gobernador General. Ang akong ito ay batay sa pananaw ni Gobernador General Rafael de Izquierdo, kaka-appoint lang ng kanyang bilang kapalit na Gobernador General Carlos Mad de la Torre na nagbigay ng malaking dismaya sa maraming Pilipino. Simula pa lang ng kanyang panunungkulan, halata na ang kanyang pagiging bias laban sa mga Pilipino. Pinawalang bisa niya ang maraming reformang ipinatupad ni De La Torre na dati ay nagbigay pag-asa sa mga liberal na Pilipino.
The summary report of Governor Izquierdo on the Cavite Mutiny of 1872. The Governor Rafael Izquierdo official report on the 1872 Cavite Mutiny described it as a premeditated na naglalayong patalsikin ang kolonyal na pamahalaan ng Espanya ng Pilipinas. According to Izquierdo, ang pag-aalsa ay pinangunahan ng mga Pilipinong sundalo at manggagawa sa arsenal ng Cavite, who were allegedly incited by secular friars and ilustrados or educated na Filipino who oppose government reforms. Ang ulat ay ginamit para gawing lehitimo or to justify ukol sa pagdakip at pagbitay kina Gumburza, Jose Burgos at Jacinto Zamora, who were accused of conspiring in the rebellion.
Sabi dito, hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa malinaw na natutukoy kung paano nila natatag yung monarkiya o republika. Monarkiya is an example of king or queen who has a political system based upon undivided sovereignty or rule of single person. Sovereignty is an example of supreme power. So, sabi nga dito, hindi pa nila alam kung paano natatag yung monarkiya ng republika. Dahil ang mga Indio ay walang sariling salita o sa kanilang wika na paano nila ilalarawan at ang iba't ibang anyo ng pamahalaan. Ang Indio naman ay isang indigenous or native inhabitant of the islands during the Spanish colonization. Sila yung mga naabutan ng mga Spaniard na tao sa isang lugar na yun. And sabi nga dito, lumalabas na sila ay maglalagay ng pinuno ng pamahalaan na isang pari. At ang mga malalaking probabilidad dito na hindi nagbibigay ng katiyakan, ang example na magiging pari is sina Di Jose Burgos o Di Jacinto Zamora, mga kura paroko ng San Pedro ng Maynila. Lahat ng mga Kastila kasama ang mga praile ay papatayin maliban sa mga babae at ang kanilang mga kagamitan ay kukumpiskahin. At isa rin sa sinabi dito na ang mga dayuhan lamang ang kanilang igagalang. Next page po. Dito naman sa part na to, ito yung nagpapakita ng pag-aalsa nila. Ang pag-aalsang ito ay may isang ugat o maraming ugat. Kasama at kaakibat ng malaking lawak ng regiment or infantry or artillery. Ang infantry ay isang branch ng army made of soldiers with trained soldiers, yung mga sundalong veteran na sa pagsabak sa mga gera. Ang artillery regiment ay yung mga yung mga sundalong nagdadala ng weapons. So sabi din dito, maraming civilian at malalaking bilang ng mga mestidos Indio at ilang ilustrado mula sa mga probinsya ang mag-uumpisa ng revolusyon. Binalak nilang sunugin ang distrito ng Tondo. Sabi din dito, kapag ang apoy ay nakatakda ng magliyab ng malawak, At habang abala ang mga otoridad sa pag-apula nito, dito nalalabas yung mga regiment or artillery sa tulong ng mga nananakop. Tapos sabi din dito, ang Fort Santiago hanggang sa kabisera nito ay ang pagsisimula ng gulo. Tulad ng pagkakaroon ng kanyon na ipapailalim sa mga rebelde. Nakapaloob din dito na sa Cavite ay ang pinakatagumpay na lugar na kanilang pupuntahan. Ang hukbong dagat ay mayroong nakapaloob na 500 katutubong sa pangunguna ng pinatawad na pinunong si Camerino. Ang taong ito ay ang tauhan na matatagpuan sa bayan ng Bacoor at humihiwalay sa kuta kung tatawid sila sa San Felipe sa pamamagitan ng maliit na bisig ng dagat. Ang tubig at mga kuta ay maaabot bilang pagkakaroon nila ng armas at bala. Sa Cavite, ginawa ng mga rebelde ang isang senyales upang masundan ang kanilang pagsugod. Bagamat sinubukan nila itong ilabas ang kanilang mga armas, nabigo pa rin sila. Dahil sa malaking puwersa ng hukbo ng dagat o tinatawag na mga Spanish people na nakaabang sa kanila. Dito naman sa part na to, eto din yung isang parte ng mga rebelde kung paano nila gagabayan ng isa't isa. Sabi dito, sinamantala ng isang grupo ng mga rebelde na naiwan sa planong ito, natupad din ang 1869 na Republic Act.
This uprising among the soldiers in Cavite was used as a powerful label by the Spanish residents and by the friars. During the time that General La Torre was chief executive in the Philippine Islands, the influential Filipinos did not hesitate their hostility to the religious orders, and the central government in Madrid has announced its intention to deprive the friars in this island of all powers of intervention in matters of civil government and the direction and management of the university. Moret, the colonial minister, had drawn up a scheme of reforms by which he proposed to make a radical change in the colonial system of government, which was to harmonize with the principles for which the Revolution III in Spain had been fought. It was due to these facts and promises that the Filipinos had great hopes of an improvement in the affairs of their country, while the friars, on the other hand, feared that their power in the colony would soon be completely a thing of the past. Next slide po. The mutiny in Cavite gave the conservative element, that is, those who favored a continuance of the colonial modus vivendi, an opportunity to represent to the Spanish government that a bust was afoot and organized throughout the archipelago with the object of destroying the Spanish sovereignty. They stated that the Spanish government in Madrid was to blame for the propagation of pernicious doctrines and for the hopes that had been held out from Madrid to the Filipino people. And also, because of the leanings of ex-governor La Torre and of other public functionaries who had been sent to the Philippine Island by the government that succeeded in Queen Isabella.
The fall of the new rulers of Spain within a few days, as well as the other occurrences, seem to accentuate the claims made by the conservative elements in the Philippine Islands regarding the peril which threatened Spanish sovereignty in the islands. It appeared through the prospectus were about the fulfilled. The Madrid authorities were not able to combat public opinion in the country. No opportunity was given nor time taken to make through investigation of the real facts on extent of aligned revolution in the conservative element in the Philippine island, painted the local condition of affairs in somber tints, and the Madrid government came to believe, or at least to suspect, that Ash was being concocted throughout the islands to shake up Spanish sovereignty, consistent with the present of their colonial rule. The repressive measures adopted to quell the supposed insurrection were strict and sudden. No attempt appears to have been made to ascertain whether or not the innocent suffered with the guilty, and the only ends of appeared to inspire terror in all minds of all, by making examples of certain in number, so that none in the future should attempt nor even dream of any attempt at succession. That's all for our report. Thank you for listening.